Hello everyone, yes, it's Bake a Long Time. I'm Anna Olson and I have got a great recipe to share with you today. If you ever walked into a bakery and you've seen on display a giant jar of just magnificent looking huge meringues, sometimes in different colors, well, that's what I'm going to show you how to make today, my giant chocolate meringues. These meringues are definitely a confection. They're super sweet, but you'll be amazed how easy they are to make for as showy as they look. So let's start off by getting our egg whites ready. It's a meringue, therefore it starts with egg whites. I've got my 5 in here, along with a large amount of sugar. This is more sugar than a French meringue, a Swiss, or an Italian meringue, because we really are making a confection. And I've discovered if you try and just whip your egg whites and sugar without heating them, even if you do grind the sugar into a superfine sugar or use a caster sugar, that sugar doesn't dissolve. So what I like to do is warm the egg whites and sugar up together, but I'm not making a Swiss meringue. Normally you would fully cook your egg whites. Well, you would pasteurize your egg whites, cooking them to between 140, 150 Fahrenheit. This, I just want the egg whites warm enough to dissolve the sugar. So I take them to 98 degrees. You'll find that when you're heating your egg whites to 98 degrees, the sugar won't dissolve fully. But once you start whipping it, it will continue to dissolve. What's handy about this is you don't have to start with room temperature egg whites, which a traditional French meringue you should, because you're warming them. Just right from the fridge is fine. Getting close. When I'm whisking my egg whites, I'm not whisking them vigorously. I'm just keeping the egg whites moving. All that sugar in there protects them from overcooking. So close. So close. There we go. All right, now we're gonna switch to the mixer. You can do these with electric beaters if you'd rather. And now the key is to just let these whip. You're going to whip them to a stiff peak. You really want them to hold their volume. That sugar is now elastic. It will hold the volume and you'll get a fine bubble structure. It depends on the power of your mixer, your beaters. It can take 2 minutes, even up to 5 minutes. This is ready to come off the mixer. That heating step really makes a difference. And actually, heating the egg whites with the sugar before you whip your meringue for this recipe is important so that when you bake the meringue, you don't get excessive cracks as it expands when it bakes. So that is very, very important. I am going to add just a little pinch of salt. You can also add that when you add the sugar before you heat up your egg whites. But now I'm saving the last bit, the best bit, adding just 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. So this transforms these meringues. They're going to become crispy on the outside, but because of the cocoa powder, they're going to be almost chewy candy-like in the center. And even though I'm doing chocolate meringues, you could use freeze-dried fruit powders, raspberry, strawberry, blueberry. You could just add some extracts, so long as they're not oil-based extracts. You don't want those deflating your meringue. And any food coloring. And what you can do is just with a little food coloring, and like I'm going to do with the cocoa powder, don't incorporate it fully. I don't want to deflate the egg whites. And so I just want to loosely combine the cocoa powder in with the egg whites, almost so I have streaks and ribbons of cocoa. A couple pockets with unmixed cocoa powder is okay, but there we go. So you can see sort of stripes of cocoa within the meringue. And now this recipe makes 6 giant meringues. And you want to get yourself some really big spoons. Even smaller ones work, but this makes the point. And you want to dollop this onto your baking tray. So I like doing almost canal shapes and dropping those on, like so. Leaving a good amount of space between them. They will expand. To that one, and I'm just going to take my spatula just to get every bit of meringue. There we go. Well, that one's not so giant. I think I need to borrow from this one. As the meringues expand, any little nicks or details, irregularities, sort of expand their way out. So these are going to bake up beautifully. And with meringues, it takes patience. So these take 2 hours to bake in a really low temperature oven, a 225-degree oven. And you can tell when they're done. You can take them out of the oven, even if you're unsure if they're done. Give them 5 minutes to cool, then carefully lift. If it peels away easily from the paper, then you know they're fully cooked. If you find they're a little bit sticky, even if they cooled for a few minutes, pop them back in the oven and continue drying them. And after they come out of the oven, here they are. And I did tell you how they expand. And so gently peel it off the tray, but these are nice and crunchy, but you can see no excessive cracks, just a few natural ones, but that's to be expected. And then once you've got these nicely dried, they keep for days and days and days, even longer, if you keep them in an airtight container. And that is why you see bakeries with these big jars of them on display. It's a great use if you have extra egg whites, adds color. If you're having a party and you're setting up a buffet to make these giant meringues to have stacked at the corners of your buffet, even if you don't have that many desserts, wow, it just makes everything look so grand. And I have these facing me. Let me turn those to face you. But can you imagine, like I said, freeze-dried raspberry powder would be spectacular. And then when you crack into them, they are tender, and the cocoa powder ones have that chewy center, so it almost tastes like a chocolate brownie. Oh, crunchy shell, soft chocolatey interior, the easiest confection you can imagine, and now you know the secret of how the bakeries do it. Thank you for joining me for this easy bake-along, and I look forward to planning again. Don't forget to leave comments below because I do read them. If you have requests of things you'd like me to make or share with you, I'm always coming up with new recipes. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Oh, that chewy center. Dare I say it, kind of has that Mars bar vibe.